What's up, everybody? Matt Gajeski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we're talking college basketball props via No House Advantage. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so when this and all other content goes live. If you're listening on podcast, please leave a rating and review over there too. And of course, we are brought to you by No House Advantage, bringing you new and unique ways to play player props. The best way to do so, I think, is to use their Verse the House. And this is basically you just making lineups against their listed prop numbers. You can go anywhere from 2 to 5 players in an individual lineup. And why I like this so much is No House Advantage is actually paying out the best overall payouts in the industry. This includes other sites like Prize Picks. The 21x you get for getting 5 correct is the best payout you can possibly get. And the same is true for those of you making lineups with 4-player props. But that's not all. They also have Pick'em contest, which is tournament style, you versus other people still making lineups of player props on a confidence interval. And if you win those tournaments, you're taking down prizes as big as $25,000. A lot of times they're not filling to, which means you have a good chance of actually taking down those elite prizes up at the top. So make sure to check them out. We will do just that right now. And if you're ever looking for extra content or just projections on that, we have it on stochastic.com. So check those out as well. We'll talk to you about that a little bit later. Diving into the college basketball props for today, Saturday, March the 11th, conference championship semifinals. A lot of good games today. We're going to kick things off in the Big Ten with Ohio State taking on Purdue. I made a mistake yesterday, guys. I looked at the model we build over at Stochastic with player projections. It was showing overs on rebounds against Purdue. Now, I let my bias get the best of me. All right, Purdue, yeah, they're the best rebounding team in the country, or at least top 5 team in the country. A lot of it comes because of the name right above Justice doing Zach Edey. Do I really want to play a rebounding prop on like a Cliff Amore for Rutgers yesterday going up against Purdue, even though it's showing value? And my answer was no, I'm not going to play that. I don't care what the model says. It doesn't make sense. Overs come in across the board. And there's a couple of reasons why I think it was a big mistake for me to ignore that, especially when the model points to overs. First of all, yeah, they're a great rebounding team, but it's not like Ohio State's going to get 0 rebounds. Like just the way the game is played, they're going to get rebounds. Zach Edey also doesn't play 40 minutes. Yesterday, for example, he played 32, I believe. And he rarely plays in the high 30s. And a lot of times he's playing in the upper 20s. That's 1/4 of the game where Zach Edey's not even on the court. So yeah, Purdue's a great rebounding team. But first and foremost, Ohio State is by default going to get some rebounds. So I have to at least use some logic here when we're thinking about this. And second of all, with Justice swinging towards the over in rebounds today, there's a lot that has gone into this projection. First of all, Zed Key is out for the year. He's typically playing the 5 for this team, hasn't played in weeks. And they've also lost Bryce Sensabaugh. Now, he's questionable today. We'll see if he comes. The language on him was pretty negative. Didn't play yesterday. And the coach came out and said he's going to be reevaluated on Friday. And the language specifically was he's going to undergo further testing. I don't know what that means, but this is probably Ohio State's last game if they don't win this. I mean, they're not going to the NCAA tournament unless they win the whole Big Ten tournament. So he kind of needs to play. But with that said, that was pretty ominous language on Bryce Sensabaugh. Whether Sensabaugh plays or not, Justice Suing is going to be playing max minutes, 35 minutes plus here in this game as long as he doesn't foul. There's a chance some of that comes up at the 5 when Felix Akpar is out of the game. With that said, just the maximum minutes on the court should allocate, or I guess coincide enough times with Edey being off the court, grabbing enough random rebounds here and there for this to be value in our projections. I know it sounds crazy going in over on rebounds against Zach Edey and Purdue, but the number's only 5.5. Suing is one of the lone players left on this team, fully healthy, going to play max minutes. He could honestly just backdoor his way into this over the length of time in this game. So we're going to go over 5.5 rebounds for him. The total is actually 134 as well, which is a bit higher than the Purdue total was yesterday when we saw Cliff Amore have a pretty good game. But that's where we stand in this first matchup. We'll go to our second one, which is Penn State taking on Indiana, where we are hitting an under with Cam Winter under 12.5 points. I was surprised to see this one come in so high. The total in the game is just 140, and I could see it going below that. I think part of the reason it's so high is just the defense for Penn State's been awful this year. They rank outside the top 200 in defensive efficiency. So Indiana should have no issue scoring. But on the other side, Penn State 3-point dogs, their implied team total is just 68.5. And the main issue I have with Cam Winter is you basically have three other players projected for double-digit points ahead of him. When you look at shot rates on the year, Jalen Pickett's at 24%, leads the team. Seth Lundy, second, he's at 17%. And Andrew Funk is third at 16.5%. Cam Winters at just a 12.5% shot rate on the year. And over the last couple games, that's remained consistent. If anything, the shots have actually kind of extended further towards Pickett, Lundy, and Funk at the expense of Cam Winter a little bit, who's still hovering right around 12% of the shots. The only thing redeeming him here is the minutes played. He's played 30, 32, and 33 minutes over the last 3 games. But with that said, he's still clearly the fourth scoring option for this team. So seeing the disparity in points between a guy like Funk above him and Winter at 12.5 below him, I do like the over towards Funk, but our model does show us that the most value comes in on Cam Winter under 12.5 points. We haven't projected around 9. So quite a bit of value here towards the under for Winter. And that brings us to our final game. We're going to go to Texas versus Kansas. And again, we only have projections out for some of the games right now, trying to get this video out as early as possible. We'll have more projections for the late games like Marquette Xavier. Some of the props aren't even out for some of the night games. We're going to have those on No House Advantage later today, I'm sure. But let's talk about what we do have. Texas versus Kansas, tight spread, 2 points, 1.5 points in some spot. Texas taking a little bit of money. Timmy Allen's out again. They are just taking the approach. We're going to rest him, get him healthy for the NCAA tournament. And that's allowed Dylan Dessou to play a ton. Over 30 minutes in their second most recent game, played 24 minutes in the last contest. That was because he almost fouled out. He had 4 fouls in 24 minutes. But this guy is a machine, and he actually projects towards the over in points above, which was listed at 10.5. But he also projects over 6.5 rebounds, which is pretty crazy. He eclipsed that number last night in just 24 minutes, played 32 minutes the night prior. But when you look at the profile of this guy, you might not expect to see some of the rebounding numbers you do. Of course, he doesn't project for this if you give him the 24 minutes he's seen really all season long. He's been around 20. But people forget, this is a guy that led the SEC in rebounds per game in 2021 when he previously played with Vanderbilt. And now he's just been in a limited role with Texas. But when Timmy Allen's out, he's more or less unleashed into a full-time role, which is what we've seen here so far in the 2-game sample we have without Timmy Allen. This doesn't come without risk. You definitely need to worry about fouls. That's been a problem with him through multiple points in his career. But matchup-wise, Kansas ranks 142nd in rebounding. Certainly don't scare you there. The only thing missing from Dylan Dessou all year in terms of these props was minutes. Now we have that, as long as he doesn't foul, so cross your fingers. But this is a guy who's a smash towards the over in a lot of his props, just the best one being rebounds. All right, so we have 3 props today. If we hit all of these correctly, it pays out 5x. But again, if you find a 4th or a 5th prop, you get paid out 11x or 21x. Those are the most competitive rates in the industry. And of course, over at Stochastic, we have tools to help you with that. We actually developed a new tool called Pick'em Pro, which you can use for basically any of these player prop sites, but No House Advantage is included. You just click the tab and it shows you the win percentage of all of the listed props. And this is across sports. So right now we have NBA up. Jaren Jackson looks like a value towards the under on his. And there's a bunch of them. And you could take advantage of this via a free week trial. If you click the link in the video description below, that should be there. But yeah, a lot of cool things going on at No House Advantage currently. Let me know what you think of these college props and any others you like in the board. As more come up through the day, let me know if you like any of those. You can also follow me on Twitter at Matt_Gajeski if you would like. We'll be back talking more college props soon. And until then, good luck, everyone. We'll see you guys later.